I am Sophocles, born in the small, yet proud village of Colonus near Athens around 496 BCE, during a time when Athens was rising to greatness. The city was becoming the cultural and political heart of Greece, and I would come to play a role in that ascendancy. My life spanned nearly a century, during which I witnessed and contributed to the flourishing of Athenian drama, and through my works, I aim to explore the complexities of human nature, the power of fate, and the will of the gods. My father, Sophocles, was a wealthy armorer. Though we were not aristocrats, our family lived comfortably, allowing me access to a fine education. From an early age, I was exposed to the arts, and it was clear that I was drawn to the world of drama, music, and poetry. I began participating in public performances as a youth, where I excelled in both music and athletics, earning the favor of my fellow citizens and preparing me for the career that lay ahead. In my youth, I came of age during the Greco-Persian Wars. The victory at Salamis in 480 BCE was a turning point for Athens, and for me as well. In fact, one of my first public performances occurred shortly after this great victory, when I led a choir of boys in a celebration of Athens' triumph. I was only 16 at the time, but that experience solidified my love for public performance and theater. Athens, victorious and growing in cultural power, was the ideal setting for my aspirations. I was fortunate to live during a time when tragedy was flourishing and Aeschylus, the great master, was at the height of his career. His innovations in drama deeply influenced me. However, I sought to add my own voice to the art form. I wanted to delve more deeply into the inner struggles of my characters, to explore how human beings contend with divine will, fate, and their own emotions. In 468 BCE, at the age of 28, I achieved my first major triumph. I competed in the city Dionysia, Athens' most prestigious drama festival, and, to my great joy and surprise, I won first prize, defeating none other than Aeschylus himself. This victory marked the beginning of my long and illustrious career as a playwright, a career that would span over 60 years and produce more than 120 plays. My work in the theater, though traditional in some respects, introduced key innovations that have shaped the way tragedy is performed. One of my most significant contributions was the expansion of the chorus. Before me, playwrights relied on a chorus of 12, but I increased that number to 15, enhancing its impact and presence on the stage. I also introduced a third actor to the performances, allowing for more complex interactions between characters. This innovation enabled me to create deeper, more nuanced relationships and conflicts between the figures in my plays. In terms of content, my tragedies differ from those of my predecessors in the way I portray the role of the gods and fate. Aeschylus had emphasized divine justice and the overarching power of the gods in human affairs. While I, too, recognized the power of the divine, I was more interested in how individuals navigate the circumstances that fate has dealt them. My characters are not simply pawns in the hands of the gods. They are fully realized human beings, struggling with moral dilemmas, making choices that lead them toward their inevitable downfall. Perhaps my most famous contribution to tragedy is the way I treated the concept of hamartia, the tragic flaw. I did not believe that this flaw was always a moral failing. Rather, it could be a misjudgment, an error in perception, or even the result of unavoidable circumstances. In this way, I humanized my characters, making their fates all the more tragic because they were not wholly responsible for their suffering. While I wrote many plays over the course of my life, my most enduring works are undoubtedly my Theban plays, which explore the tragic fate of Oedipus and his family. These plays, Oedipus Rex, Oedipus at Colonus, and Antigone, delve into the themes of fate, free will, and the consequences of human action. In Oedipus Rex, I portrayed the story of a man doomed from birth by a prophecy that he would kill his father and marry his mother. Despite all his efforts to avoid this fate, Oedipus unwittingly fulfills the prophecy, and the realization of his actions drives him to blind himself in despair. What fascinated me about this story was not simply the inevitability of Oedipus' downfall, but how his own intelligence, determination, and search for truth lead him directly into the trap that fate had set for him. It is not the gods who actively punish him, but his own relentless pursuit of knowledge that brings about his ruin. Antigone, set after the events of Oedipus Rex, focuses on Oedipus' daughter, a figure of unwavering moral conviction. Antigone defies the king, Creon, to ensure her brother receives a proper burial, an act that leads to her death. Through Antigone, I sought to explore the tension between individual conscience and state authority, the conflict between human law and divine justice. Her tragic fate illustrates the cost of standing up for one's beliefs in a world where power and authority can be blind to justice. The final play in the Theban cycle, Oedipus at Colonus, is more reflective in nature. Written late in my life, it tells the story of the final days of Oedipus, who, after years of wandering in exile, finds a place of peace and redemption in the sacred grove at Colonus, the very place where I was born. This play is deeply personal to me, as it represents not only the conclusion of Oedipus' journey but also my own reflections on life, suffering, and the possibility of finding peace at the end of one's struggles. Although I am best known for my work in the theater, I was also deeply involved in the public life of Athens. Like many of my contemporaries, I saw it as my duty to contribute to the well-being of the city. I served as a general during the Samian War in 441 BCE, alongside Pericles, the great statesman of Athens. Though I was more comfortable in the world of letters than on the battlefield, I performed my duties as a citizen soldier with honor, recognizing that the safety and prosperity of Athens were paramount. I also served as a priest of Asclepius, the god of healing, reflecting my lifelong interest in matters of the soul and body. In my later years, I was appointed one of the probouloi, a council of elders established to manage the city during the crisis of the Peloponnesian War. Though Athens ultimately fell to Sparta, I took pride in having done my part to steer the city through its most difficult times. I was fortunate to be recognized for my work during my lifetime. Over the course of my career, I won first prize at the City Dionysia no fewer than 18 times and placed highly in many other competitions. Yet, I never sought fame for its own sake. For me, the theater was not simply entertainment but a way of examining the deepest questions of human existence. One of the greatest honors of my life came not from the accolades or the prizes, but from the people of Athens themselves. Late in my life, they passed a decree allowing me and my descendants to make offerings in the theater of Dionysus, a rare privilege that filled me with pride and gratitude. It was a recognition that my work had contributed something lasting to the city I loved. As I reflect on my life and achievements, I am often asked what I sought to express through my tragedies. For me, the essence of tragedy lies in its exploration of human suffering, the inescapable nature of fate, and the tension between divine will and human agency. We, as mortals, are often caught in a web of circumstances beyond our control, and yet we persist in making choices, seeking to understand our place in the world. My characters, from Oedipus to Antigone to Electra, are defined by their resilience, their determination to confront the truth, even when that truth leads to their downfall. In this way, I sought to honor the strength of the human spirit, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. Tragedy, for me, is not merely about despair. It is about the dignity that comes from struggling against the inevitable, about the lessons we learn through suffering, and about the compassion we can feel for one another in our shared humanity. As I near the end of my long life, I take solace in the knowledge that my work has left a mark on Athens, on Greece, and perhaps even on future generations. I do not know what will become of my plays in the centuries to come, but I hope that they will continue to speak to the enduring questions of existence, to the mysteries of fate, and to the complexities of the human heart. I am Sophocles, and through my tragedies, I have sought to illuminate the soul of man.